Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Monmouth County. I am filling in for Karen Christiana this morning. She couldn't be with us. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. Karen and I both serve on music committee, UU singers, sister singers. She's part of the video team, I'm part of the sound team. If you have any questions, we are always looking for extra help. No obligation. See me after the service if you have questions. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. Our mission is to create community, transform ourselves, and transform the world. I draw your attention to the back side of your order of service for announcements and service information for the next week. For those of you on live stream and for video viewers, the order of service link is available to you in the YouTube service description box. The mitten tree has returned. Choose a paper mitten from the tree in the community room and choose to give gifts or gift cards to the Family Promise and/or Monmouth County SPCA. The back of the mitten will have information about the recipient's wish list or items or gift cards to purchase from gift cards can be purchased from UUCMC's gift card table located next to the mitten tree. Gifts and cards for Family Promise will be delivered next Sunday, December 10th. Those for Monmouth SPCA the following Sunday. This is our opportunity to bring more joy to lots of people and animals this Christmas. After the service, coffee will be served in the community room, and people of all ages are welcome to visit with one another. We will hold an interim congregational meeting there today, beginning at noon. If you are new to us, please do visit our website, uucmc.org, where you can sign up to get all the latest news of the congregation by email. We look forward to getting to know you better. Please put your devices on silent as we enter into worship together. Welcome again to this place of love and hope.
I'm the Reverend Dr. Craig Rubano, and I'm pleased that you have chosen to be part of this community. On this day, the first Sunday in a month when our congregational theme will be mystery. Indeed, this first Sunday of the Christian season of Advent, along with the beginning of Hanukkah later this week, heralds a time when the great mysteries at the heart of what it means to be a human being are explored, extolled, and at times feared. For the days grow short, the nights grow long, and we head into a time when in the realms of prehistory it was uncertain whether survival would be on the other side of winter. Today, in a time when several places in our world are warring, when our own nation is divided against itself, the call delivered by Karen Gear this morning is appropriate, that the holy, that which is greater than any one of us alone, might emerge among us, might bless us, might come and go from our midst in and with peace. Our congregation, any congregation, maybe especially Unitarian Universalist ones, are never fait accompli, but only exist and survive when the peaceful assembly and care and maintenance and love of their members is present. So it is with special joy this morning we begin by casting our imaginations back a bit into UUCMC history to January 6th, 1957, nearly 67 years to the day, when at a meeting at the Old Mill in Tinton Falls, a Unitarian fellowship was organized that over the years would meet in 4 places before land was bought, plans were made, and 8 years later a meeting house was dedicated on this spot, or rather just to the west in what we now call the community room. How appropriate that we raise this history today when new members will gather in the minister's office to sign the membership book, and when an interim congregational meeting of this body will be observed in that very first sanctuary. There is today only one of those original visionaries from 1957 still among us who gathered at the mill. Typically, I don't ask that we sing for birthdays as part of our service, and there will be cake afterwards, but this is rather special. Unfortunately, he can't be with us this morning, but we'll get him the video, and I know he'd appreciate cards. So please, let's celebrate a man who continues to this day, to be an ardent and generous supporter of this congregation. Happy 100th birthday to our beloved Lee Rossbach. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lee. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Lee. And now expressly using the word worship in its original meaning of a shaping concern for all that is of worth, our call to worship comes to us from the Reverend Dr. Rebecca A. Savage, senior minister at the UU congregation of Rockville, Maryland. As people of faith and wonder, we welcome in the delight of mystery, the awe of unfolding adventures, the expansiveness of what it means to behold mystery as a gift to the imagination. Too often we relax into routines, find comfort in old habits, and give in to the confines of our lives. In this time of worship together, may our hearts be nudged open to what may be. May our spirits be wrapped in curiosity to seek mystery and welcome her in. May our time together this day remind us to stay open, stay inquisitive of what we do not yet understand, and be inspired to stretch ourselves into new ways of being. Welcome, mystery. Welcome into our hearts. Come, let us worship together. Each week we light a flame in a chalice, symbolizing the sacred space we create each time we gather together with intention. This place is not sacred on its own. We make it so with our covenanted presence together. I invite Iris to come forward to light our chalice flame this morning. Our chalice lighting words are penned by the Reverend Gordon B. McKeeman, who at his death in 2013 was Minister Emeritus of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Akron, Ohio. How does one address a mystery? Cautiously, reverently, hopefully, quietly. Simply be in the intimate presence of mystery, unashamed, unadorned, unafraid. And at the end, say, Amen. May it be so. Thank you, Iris. This is a season of waiting for what is to come, for the birth of a child, for the growing light in the sky, waiting to eat the delicacies of the holidays, the figgy pudding, the latkes. It is a season of longing for meaning, for comfort, for a sense of Emmanuel, a sense that love, that God, that life, that mystery is with us. I invite us to rise in body and or spirit to sing our opening hymn of Advent this morning, number 225 in our hymnals and on the screens. O come, Emmanuel.
Come, you wisdom from on high, from depths that hide within a sigh, to temper knowledge with our care, to render every act a prayer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as hope to dwell.
Good morning. Our story today is called Maccabee, the story of Hanukkah. At Hanukkah, we tell this story of ancient faithfulness and glory, of freedom lost and freedom won by Jews who knew what must be done. The Greeks had gods, yes, more than one. God of the sea, God of the sun. Throw in a party god for fun. King Antiochus ruled the land. Bow down to them was his command. And that's not all. I order you to dress and eat and act Greek too. No way, said every faithful Jew. Sometimes it only takes a few who know what's right and do it too. But Antiochus had great power. When they refused, his mood turned sour. Jerusalem, he snarled and frowned, will desecrate their holy ground. Put statues of our gods around, stamp out the traitors where they're found. Some Jews gave in and some Jews fled. Then one Jew, Rededicating, said, to your idols I won't pray, your laws aren't mine, I won't obey. He drew his sword and got away. Sometimes it only takes a few who know what's right and to do it too. But Rededicating said, I'm old. We need a leader, strong and bold. I have 5 sons. Whom should I choose? And he conducted interviews. Jonathan is pretty smart, and Simon knows a martial art. The other 2 will do their part. Oh, but Judah, what a heart. He called Judah at first light. Our farmers, shepherds, you'll unite, deep in the mountains, out of sight. With patience, teach them how to fight. Then lead attacks through dark of night, said Judah eager, brave, and bright. Count on me to do what's right with all my heart and all my might. Sometimes it only takes a few who know what's right and do it too. So Judah led the scrappy band to fight for freedom through the land. Now all admired his strong command. He's like a hammer in our hand. So Maccabee was his new name. The Maccabees gained instant fame. The armies of the king were strong. They thought they'd win, but they were wrong. The Maccabees fought hard and long. King Antiochus finally said, enough, enough, enough bloodshed. Then Judah's men saw just ahead Jerusalem with ruin spread. And though they'd won, they moaned and said, all is lost, this place is dead. Did Judah wail and hang his head? No, he told them all instead. Sometimes it only takes a few who knows what's right and do it too. Our temple is a royal mess, but we've come to repossess. So do I have a volunteer to get the idols out of here? I see the courtyards gone to weeds. Who'd like to plant some flower seeds? Someone called, look what I've found, our broken altar on the ground. And Judah said, who's good with bricks? These are problems we can fix. Enthusiasm filled the air as people scurried everywhere. A new menorah, aren't we clever? Its holy light will burn forever. A search for oil was underway, but bad news spoiled their holiday. This jug will last just one day. The people cried, but it takes 8 to make more oil, and that's too late. You're right, said Judah, we can't wait. Use what we have, that little bit. They all agreed. The oil was lit. The next day, still it burned like new. The 3rd and 4th and 5th day, too. For 3 more days, their wonder grew. Free to worship without fear, they said, remember, every year, a miracle has happened here. And like brave Judah, they all knew. Sometimes it only takes a few who knows what's right and do it too. If Judah were alive today, what would he do? What would he say? He'd smile at the familiar sight of our menorah burning bright and join in prayers that we recite. He'd thrill us with a tale or two about his brave and loyal crew. We'd beg for more when he was through. But Judah lived long, long ago. Of course he can't come see us, so some of these things we'll never know. Yet we'll remember this, it's true. Sometimes it only takes a few. And so our story ends. And now we'll sing our children and youth to their small groups. The youth will be meeting in Edgewood today with Go Now in Peace.
This is your invitation to contribute to the well-being of our congregation and to our neighbors through the good works of organizations which receive half of the monies collected each month. Our Share the Plate recipient for December is Lunch Break, Family Promise. Lunch Break, located in Red Bank, and Family Promise, located in Old Fort Monmouth, have joined forces. Lunch Break serves 5,000 to 6,000 lunches every month, including hot breakfasts on Saturday. Family Promise families are currently housed in motels for a few months while working to procure more permanent housing. Check out the mitten tree in the community room. Providing the gifts requested by the clients at Family Promise can help make their Christmas a lot brighter. For those of you present here in the meeting house, the plates will be passed by the ushers. You may also join this time of generosity via text, send your offering by mail, or charge your contribution online with a memo designating an amount to Lunch Break/Family Promise. Please give generously.
I don't know about you, but when the holiday season ramps up for real, and for my family it already has, with an in-laws party last weekend and a parents' friends party this afternoon, a sense of peace is sometimes difficult to summon up. And yet this morning I want to argue that both the Christian season of Advent and the Jewish festival of Hanukkah are at their heart expressions of yearning for peace and for cooperation, both in society at large and within the heart of each person. We heard the story of Hanukkah, or rededication, earlier as our story wisdom, or at least we heard a version, or rather a compilation of versions gathered over time. For according to some scholars, while the Greek ruler Antiochus was a nasty piece of work, there was in the Maccabee revolt an element of anti-assimilationism as well. The Maccabees were purists, wary of the Hellenization at work in their land. Hellenization is a term for the seeping influence of the larger Greek culture at the time. Many rabbis now assert that the Maccabees challenged their fellow Jews for selling out, embracing Greek culture, because they were either seduced by it or afraid to disobey authority. And that in most of the battles in that extended war in the 160s BCE, Jews fought amongst themselves as soldiers in the armies on both sides. However, as you might imagine, for as they say, given 2 Jews in a room, you can expect at least 3 opinions. There is a counter-narrative expressed by other rabbis that the power of Judaism has been its ability to incorporate good things from the surrounding world, to grow, to adapt. That Judaism itself survived because of Hellenistic impulses. Of course, as you might imagine, the wrestling with the story of Hanukkah and assimilation happens today among the conservative and liberal divisions of contemporary Judaism. But longing for purity aside, the claim that nothing changes in Judaism is just ahistorical. In fact, the very Hasmonean dynasty that rose out of the Maccabee rebellion, realizing that staying in power required diffusing tensions among competing factions, ended up espousing the very assimilation against which the rebellion had perhaps striven, putting into place Greek models of government. Also ever-changing has been the very celebration of Hanukkah itself. First of all, nowhere in the Hebrew Bible is it commanded to celebrate Hanukkah. Actually, the festival itself is not mentioned at all, although the prayers of Hanukkah expressly say God has so commanded. In fact, other than the books of Maccabees in the Roman Catholic Apocrypha, the only time the festival of rededication crops up in any sacred text is in the Gospel of John, where Jesus is said to have come to Jerusalem to celebrate it. So you have an extra-biblical event at the start. And historically, the reason Hanukkah is celebrated for 8 days has nothing to do with oil. It is merely that the 8-day festival of Sukkot had been missed in the fog of the resistance struggle, and it was vowed that when the temple was retaken, the first thing they would do was to celebrate Sukkot. The oil only came into the story 700 years later, when Talmudic rabbis, wary of the militaristic tone the celebration of rededication had taken, shifted the emphasis from the fight to the light, from the anti-assimilation to peaceful accommodation. By then, it was well appreciated that to go along, one must get along. And anything that distracted people from adapting to the surrounding culture had proved over and over again to be detrimental to survival. Thenceforward, Hanukkah became a festival of lights, associated with the frying of things in oil and the dreidel game whose letters spell out an acrostic for a miracle happened here. And the gift-giving? Well, it turns out that is a product largely of U.S. Jewish culture, an attempt to join in with the spirit of Christmas gift-giving that usually surrounds the Hanukkah rededication. So the accretions to the feast of Hanukkah are themselves an argument for peaceful coexistence, for a tolerance of many views. For Hanukkah is a piecemeal series of additions that really has only come into its own during the last 2 centuries in diasporic Judaism in the Americas. Perhaps the true lesson of Hanukkah is that a people must learn to negotiate and dedicate themselves anew to entering peaceful dialogue in service to long-held ideals. And what about Advent? The word comes from the Latin adventus, which literally means the coming, and which therefore taps into the sense that we are living on the cusp of something good. Advent is a time of preparation, of waiting, a countdown of weeks leading up to the celebration of Christmas and the birth of something new and wondrous, and importantly, something also politically subversive, people affirming and peacemaking. For the clear historical meaning of Adventus was the formal occasion of a Roman emperor's triumphant entry into a city, particularly after a military victory. Indeed, a mere 20 years before the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, Virgil had written the epic poem, the Aeneid, during the reign of Caesar Augustus, in which one of the characters prophesies the birth of Caesar as an adventum, the Caesar child, the offspring of a god, a savior to the Roman people. Caesar was named a divine being and an intercessor between gods and humankind. The story of Christmas, depicted solely in the Gospel of Luke, is a rewriting of the mythos of Adventus, with, instead of welcoming a warrior king, the world heralds the birth of a Prince of Peace. The child we celebrate on Christmas morning signifies the power inherent in all human beings to work for change, in defiance of the emperor or whatever conventional forms of power that would keep us docile and locked into patterns of servitude or feelings of worthlessness. The lowly child born in Bethlehem, held to be Lord, is a sign that each of us has power to tap into the universal. Each is loved and held by whatever transcendent energy we might posit. Each represents another chance at achieving peaceful coexistence. That the very universe is brought into unique and beautiful and essentially and potentially peaceful expression by every single child that is born. And that includes you and me. Both Hanukkah and Advent, then, strung out across a number of days, countdowns of sorts, are exhortations to slowing down, reminding one another of the things for which we can and should be grateful, disabusing ourselves of the notion that there is any one way to do anything, living into the great mystery of which we are essentially a part. We forget the gifts of Hanukkah at our great peril, lest we become the occupiers in the story of old, depriving others of their sacred right to self-determination. And as we know, all people matter, not merely the emperor, something especially important to proclaim about those at the margins, just as was the case regarding one Palestinian child of Nazareth, born to indigent parents somewhere in the Levant 2,000 years ago. With every Hanukkah and Advent candle we light, we illumine the most important messages of all, that we must always work to find light in the darkness, and we must always work to keep the light of religious freedom burning for all people, for all time. These celebrations shed light on what's truly wonderful this time of year in all the traditions that beg us to slow down and still our hearts. The diversity of simple ways that we can collectively remind ourselves of the light we are to one another. The candlelight of the season in all traditions is to be shared, providing occasions and rituals for people to gather in families, congregations, communities, warming themselves in the presence of the flames, and sharing stories developed over the centuries, celebrating our history in tales of courage and perseverance, of simplicity and dedication, and of peaceful cooperation. I'm grateful to have this community of spirited seekers with whom to share the holiday season. In the face of all the mystery in the world, I wish us an Advent filled with simple joys and a very happy Hanukkah, along with an exhorted rededication to what is perhaps most precious in our lives together, the peace in which to thrive with dignity together. May our lights shine upon this world filled with so much darkness, and may we find moments of tranquility when we can count our blessing, surrounded by loved ones, inspired by beloved stories of old, as we create new stories to be passed down and shared in years to come. Amen. As a segue into our own time of prayer and meditation, I invite the UU singers and Louise to gift us with a traditional hymn of Hanukkah, a yearning for the restoration of a place to pray in peace, Ma'oz Tzur.
Amen.
Let us continue in a time of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life, God of many names, in a time when so much of our world is filled with fear and anger, and the future is unclear, I offer a powerful prayer for world peace by Benedictine nun Sister Joan Chittister. I invite us to welcome the invocation of God in her prayer as an invitation to mystery, to love, to the community-building power that draws us together. Great God, save us from ourselves. Save us from the vengeance in our hearts and the acid in our souls. Save us from our desire to hurt as we have been hurt, to punish as we have been punished, to terrorize as we have been terrorized. Give us the strength it takes to listen rather than to judge, to trust rather than to fear, to try again and again to make peace, even when peace eludes us. We ask, O God, for the grace to be our best selves. We ask for the vision to be builders of the human community rather than its destroyers. We ask for the humility as a people to understand the fears and hopes of other peoples. We ask for the love it takes to bequeath to the children of the world to come more than the failures of our own making. We ask for the heart it takes to care for all people as well as for ourselves. Give us the depth of soul, O God, to constrain our might, to resist the temptations of power, to refuse to attack the attackable, to understand that vengeance begets violence, and to bring peace, not war, wherever we go. And so, may we be merciful and patient and gracious and trusting with these others whom you also love. This we ask forever and ever. And let's hold a time of silence to think in our minds, to offer into this space our concerns, our worries, our joys, our troubles. Amen. I was talking to Louise earlier this week, and I said, Louise, I don't really feel like it's Hanukkah unless David and Sarah Fischel lead us in Light One Candle. Well, ask and you just might receive. I invite us to rise in body and or spirit to sing along with Just Folk, our closing hymn, number 221 in the hymnals and on the screens, Light One Candle. Thank you, thank you. I always love that so much. Thank you. Since Hanukkah does not begin until Thursday evening, we won't light any candles expressly for the celebration today. But I wanted to share a version of the 3 blessings offered at that first candle lighting. These adapted by 2 rabbis for a secular humanistic Hanukkah celebration. So the 3 blessings of Hanukkah. Baruch Haor Ba'olam, blessed is the light within the world. Baruch Haor Ba'adam, blessed is the light within each person. Come, gather round and light the menorah as we say, L'chadlik ner shel Chanukah, kindling the lights of Hanukkah. Baruch Haor Ba'olam, blessed is the light within the world. Baruch Haor Ba'adam, blessed is the light within each person. We celebrate freedom won a long time ago by Yamim Hahem Bazman Hazeh, in those days and in this time. Baruch Haor Ha'olam, blessed is the light within the world. Baruch Haor Ba'adam, blessed is the light within each person. We light these candles in our home, and we hope that in the world, light will shine for all. Happy Hanukkah. Let us go in peace to bless the world.